Welcome to SAT TV News. I am Larry Larrock, your presenter. In our top stories, government grants DAPEX $400,000 loan. USVI moving towards visa-free travel for CARICOM nationals. And in sports division to host 34th Primary Schools Independence Athletics Championships. Details of these will follow.
Deep in my heart, deep in my soul, I'm gonna love you, SAT TV. Yes, I'll do whatever it takes just to keep you in my world, no matter what I'm meant to. Yeah, this is Divine Songs, and you're looking at SAT Telecoms.
Welcome back. The Mayor of Roseau, His Worship Cecil Joseph, says he will not seek re-election when election takes place for Mayor of Roseau on November 18, 2014. He said he is simply making way for a young person or another person who is able to continue improving the city of Roseau, as there are persons who will have other innovative ideas.
I want to wish the council well, because it's of rather importance to give blessings to the council, because they are doing a fantastic job, not only educating people but to work with the people of the municipality of Roseau. I want to encourage the new councils that will be coming to serve. I want to encourage them to serve, and to serve with diligence, and to serve with honesty, and to serve in ensuring that the meaningful changes that they would like to see happen in the city do happen. So my stint as mayor for 12 years, I was able to look in various areas. One, in terms of staff improvement. So I looked at staff as a great asset to the institution, and by virtue of that, I made quite a lot of changes.
During his term, an important scholarship program was established for students in both primary and secondary schools, increasing the number of scholarships granted from 1 to 6 students per year. An estimated 5 full scholarships and 20 partial scholarships were also given to Dominican students to study at Monroe College in St. Lucia.
One of the things I would like to ensure that people remember me as the individual who stand for people, the individual who believed in people, the individual who gave people the opportunity, the individual who worked with people. And that is why when the history books will write about me, if they do have to, when they talk about people, you will see that there was a better collaboration between the Roseau City Council and the people of the municipality, to include the business houses, to include non-governmental organizations, clubs, service clubs, schools. We saw the importance of ensuring that we build that relationship. The vendors, the vagrants on the road, all these people that we ensure that we work with to make lives better.
One of his main accomplishments, he said, was ensuring all staff of the Roseau City Council receives gratuity from working beyond 10 years.
under my stewardship, we set up what is called a gratuity scheme, where every person would go home with the total amount of gratuity that is owed to them in full. The highest amount that we ever paid was over $86,000 for one staff. We paid another $63,000 for another staff. We paid another $17,000, and we have paid over 10 staff members of full gratuity. And the gratuity scheme is totally leaving a legacy for me as mayor. Also too, in terms of the staff, the working environment has been vastly improved, because I believe that if the worker has to do or has to give an output or input, anyway you want to call it, you have to give him or her the conducive environment. So that I have done, and I'm very satisfied with that.
Mr. Joseph says he would like to be remembered as one who fought for the people. In more news, on Tuesday, October 22nd, BB Trust Incorporated, a non-profit company established by Madame Nicole Boucher and Monsieur Thierry Boyer of France, held its annual scholarship presentation for students attending the Dominica State College, DSC. This program was initiated after the mother and son, who had been visiting Dominica for many years, met Mr. Norris Prevost, parliamentary representative for the Roseau Central constituency, in an attempt to assist needy students. The foundation was then established and managed in Dominica, with the interest made going towards funding for tuition of college students. The original directors of the program have since then been Mr. Felix Wilson, Ms. Dorothy Levy, Honorable Norris Prevost and his daughter Janelle Prevost, as well as Mrs. Vernice Belloni. Mrs. Joan Prevost Chambers have been their legal guide.
So when she looked around, she just fell in love with the island, and that is why the various areas in which she would like to give assistance are those which she saw as contributing to the development of Dominica. So for one thing, because she was French, the emphasis was on students who are majoring in French at the college.
Areas including environmental studies, tourism, and agriculture are also funded under this initiative. Mr. Felix Wilson, treasurer of BB Trust Incorporated, says it is hoped that after students complete their studies, they return to Dominica to contribute.
It's a revolving fund. We put the bulk of the money in a fixed deposit, which gets a sizable amount of interest every year. And hence we were able to sustain at least 10 students per year for a number of years at the Dominica State College. We have had some students who have visited France because, or Paris rather, in France, that they, after our setup here, the BB Trust setup, they mimic it and form a similar body in Paris.
Students who must maintain a grade point average of 2.5 will receive an estimated $1,800 per year, which is expected to cover tuition and transportation. 13 students will receive scholarships this year. Meanwhile, President of the Dominica State College, Dr. Donald Peters, is encouraging private sector businesses to assist with the development of our young people through an education donation.
For those people out there, private sector people who are listening, this is a form of an endowment for those who do not understand what it is. If you want to give a scholarship to a student or to students or financial aid to this Dominica State College, you set up an endowment fund. And what happens is scholarship stays in perpetuity. It will always be there because what they do, they use the interest to fund the student. So for those people out there who want to give to us, endowments are a very good way of doing this. So there'll always be fun.
He also urged students to be entrepreneurs by creating their own jobs. In other stories, following Caribbean Week of Agriculture, hosted in Guyana from the 4th to the 12th of October, Minister for Agriculture Honorable Matthew Walters said the country cannot survive on tourism alone during a press conference held on Monday, October 21st. Issues discussed at the conference included youth and women, transportation, climate change, and the Black Sigatoka disease. Caribbean countries' representatives including Jamaica, Antigua, St. Vincent, Grenada, Belize, Suriname, and Haiti were among those present.
As you know, I am the chairperson of the Alliance. The Alliance is the body within CARICOM that is primarily responsible for the implementation of the CWA. My term of office came to an end in Guyana, and St. Lucia, is it St. Lucia? St. Lucia took up responsibility for spearheading the Alliance group.
The ministers and representatives present all agreed that the Caribbean islands import too much food, with an annual estimate of $4.5 billion on food imports.
That the Caribbean on a whole can do much better in preparing the enabling environment so that we ourselves, can substitute all those imports that we are bringing into our country on an annual basis that really are incurring a tremendous amount of money on the respective.
According to Mr. Walter, 50% of that money can be used to implement projects to create employment for Dominicans and generate economic activities, particularly in the rural areas of the country. We can grow certain foods in this country that can substitute for all imported foods that come from our respective Caribbean countries, he expounded.
There are several foods that we import that we can do without in Dominica, that Dominicans themselves can grow. Our mindset has to be changed, because we have to tell ourselves that we have to produce the foods that we eat, and we have to eat the foods that...
If we do that, he says, we will create an environment where young persons can become actively involved in agricultural production. This would generate economic activity and decrease the foreign exchange earnings to the developed countries. It would also decrease the number of persons leaving the country to seek jobs. If we were to view agriculture as a science and as a business, and the government continues to put agriculture on the front burner, the minister believes that the country would strive.
Because we have come to the realization that at Dominica, without a sound, robust agricultural sector, will take this economy nowhere. This economy cannot depend on tourism alone. And as most of you all have seen, the manufacture industry is on the decline. Therefore, it is agriculture that has to prop the economy. We have to merge agriculture with tourism and make it work.
He says we have the potential and human resource to convert raw materials into value-added products and byproducts that can be exported to other countries in the region as well as extra-regionally. We have human resource, land and water, he says, and while many countries are lamenting over the lack of water, being on the era of climate change, Dominica is in a position to counteract it by putting in place irrigation systems. Even with its negative effects, he said, the country has the ability to increase production and productivity as long as we have water. Caribbean Week of Agriculture focused on matters affecting the Caribbean as it relates to the agricultural sector and ways to resolve and preserve Caribbean sovereignty for a productive future. In other stories, the Dominica Agricultural Producers and Exporters Limited, DAPEX, is expected to operate much better after they receive a grant from the government of Dominica for a loan of $400,000 for the purchase of agricultural produce from farmers for export on Monday, October 21st. Chairman of DAPEX, Mr. Luke Prevost, says this loan finally came to life as it was promised by the Prime Minister in 2012.
This amount of $400,000, when it was offered to us, it was against the background that we were aggressively seeking to expand and to widen and develop our export business. Our export at this stage has progressed along this line, and we have made what we consider to be remarkable achievements in that regard. The thing about export is that as you continue to broaden your export or deepen your export, then you find the question of cash flow becomes even so more critical to you. So this $400,000 we have budgeted since early this year to go directly in terms of support of agricultural exports.
He added, the loan will assist in paying farmers for their produce, as this is an issue they have been dealing with for some time. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit said this is not the first time that the government has provided private sector with funds at 0% interest to assist them in increasing their procurement of agricultural produce. A few years ago, the Dominica Export-Import Agency, DEXIA, was provided with a loan of $150,000 borrowed for private sector businesses to purchase agricultural produce.
We would like to see more private sector entities play the part in investments in agriculture, because there is a demand domestically for agricultural produce. And in many respects, we are unable to supply some of the domestic demand. And there is, in fact, a huge demand regionally and extra-regionally for our agricultural produce. And DAPEX has been doing a very good job in procuring quite a bit of agricultural produce. And we see this injection into DAPEX of $400,000. That will no doubt go a very long way in putting quite a bit of money into the pockets of farmers across Dominica. And it will also be able to place DAPEX in a position where it could pay immediately upon receiving the supplies from the farmers. And of course, the return in terms of our foreign exchange.
Minister of Agriculture and Forestry Honorable Matthew Walter pointed out that the government has placed a lot of emphasis on agriculture, as it can greatly aid in eradicating poverty while generating economic activity, specifically in the rural areas.
Agriculture, cannot be overlooked. When many countries in the Caribbean, they have placed agriculture on a back burner, Dominica, recognizing the importance of agriculture, has placed agriculture on the front burner. In fact, we have allocated 9% of the national budget for agriculture, because significantly we are going to ensure that we invest heavily in agriculture so that it can achieve the objectives of poverty reduction and employment creation, and also the generation of foreign exchange earnings.
He added, the government will continue to use their resources along with the private sector to continue to make advances in agriculture. In more news, on Saturday, October 19th, a number of young persons were engaged in planting flowers along the Kinfield Highway near the vicinity of the National Bank of Dominica. Ms. Amanda Scotland, Marketing and Public Relations Officer of NBD, National Bank of Dominica Limited, highlighted the idea for this project.
We partnered with the Go Echo, which is the Generation of Opportunities, the Jeff Small Grant Program, as well as some of the corporate citizens like Lime. You have Josephine Gabriel and Son and other corporate citizens who came on board. And together they came up with a 1 million hour tree planting project. So we have initiated the project, Go Echo, initiated the project. And we are partnering with them, and today we are actually contributing some hours towards that 1 million hour of tree planting. So National Bank adopted from the Donkey Beach entrance to the Kinfield Airport entrance. We are on a mission of planting at least 600 plants. So we started that today. We planted at least 400 along the highway, and we are continuing now around the roundabout going towards the Kinfield Airport.
An estimated 50 employees of the NBD, volunteers from Clear Harbor, Ministry of Forestry and Agricultural officials, in addition to volunteers for the Generation of Opportunities, Go Echo, collaborated on the project.
We chose today because we know the independence season is coming up. Part of the initiative when Rhoda got the idea was because the Prime Minister had made a call to beautify the island. One Community Day of Service. Community Day of Service is coming up, and we are hoping that this project actually tones the entire island's energy in putting the effort into beautifying the island and planting and contributing towards the environment and our beautiful Dominica.
National Coordinator and founder of Generation of Opportunities, Go Echo, Ms. Rhoda St. John says this project was launched all in the effort to beautify Dominica and preserve the environment. Ms. St. John is urging Dominicans to keep Dominica green and clean while we all continue to protect our environment.
The National Bank, their staff, their children, everybody came out and we planted from the Kinfield Airport to Donkey Beach, where we placed plants in the ground to help to conserve the environment. And as you can see, it's also part of the beautification of the Kinfield community, but more so to work towards climate change. And today we planted 600 plants and we've contributed over 1,000 hours towards the project.
Representatives from the international Creole community assembled in Dominica to take part in a Creole symposium and exposition from the 22nd to the 24th of October 2013. This year, Dominica was chosen to host the celebration of the 30th anniversary of International Creole Day, a proposal made by Coreca of Guadeloupe as a signature event to mark this special occasion.
Moi, j'étais petit jeune et il y a un problème pour parler créole. Parce que les mamans et papa ou maman et papa qui parlent avec les amis, si vous l'avez vous avez foutu au calot de tête et dit vous allez ciser ça parce que vous pas au guamoun.
According to the minister, there is a close link between tourism and culture. Culture is one of our strengths and is one of the elements that make our tourism package unique, he said. Focus on Creole and tourism is the same in all Creole-speaking communities, he noted, and we have all developed the Creole brand.
After several months of planning and preparation, and working closely with our partners such as Coreca, we are now gathered here, Novini, Asia, Assam, to look at some of our experiences in promoting Langage Creole, Ekulti Creole over the past 30 years, and importantly, to chart a way forward, to agree on ways that we can cooperate and we can promote the Creole culture and our Creole heritage.
This week, Dominica celebrates Creole Week with many planned events and activities, including its famous World Creole Music Festival, WCMF. World Creole Music Festival explains the involvement of the Ministry of Tourism in the Creole movement and was conceived as a cultural tourism event to increase visitor arrivals to Dominica.
So it is against this background and this context that over the next few days we will discuss Creole and its role in the cultural industries. We can expect many informative presentations. We will learn from each other, and importantly, we will come up with recommendations for regional cooperation. How we are going to work together. What actions we are going to take to promote our shared Creole agenda.
The 11th annual Creole in the Park officially began on Tuesday, October 22nd, after day one was cancelled due to inclement weather conditions. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Parliamentary Representative for the Rosa Central constituency, Honorable Norris Prevost, stated, Dominicans should certainly take advantage of this wonderful event.
That over the years, I have spoken to various ways in which we could grow Creole in the Park, various ways in which we could grow and enhance the World Creole Music Festival. And I must say that we are moving in that direction rather slowly. However, I know that the potential exists for growing this event, especially in the gastronomic area. I know that potential exists for increasing the number of visitors we can attract to Dominica, both to come to Creole in the Park and to come to the World Music Festival, if we can increase our focus on our core markets.
He's urging various stakeholders in the tourism industry to continue working with the organizers of the event to source ways for growth. General Manager of Lime Dominica, Mr. Jeffrey Baptiste, says over the next 3 days, patrons will enjoy local cuisine, talent, arts and craft, as well as various elements of our rich cultural heritage.
The Lime Creole in the Park sets the tone and scene for the perfect reunion with friends, family and colleagues. A place where we can all gather to share and partake in all of what is truly Dominican, as far as culture, entertainment and talent are concerned. This year we are coming full circle from the first Creole in the Park staged in 2003. Under the theme, Celebrating Our Local Talents, the 11th edition focuses on our local musical artists who have blazed the trail and excelled in promoting Dominica's unique brand of Kadas, Bouillon and other genres of our local brand of music. Having given performance opportunities to selected foreign acts over the past years, all in an effort to create an avenue for visual mentorship and networking opportunities for some of our local budding musicians, the time has come to return to a purely local and authentic schedule of performances.
This decision, he said, will see more of our local talent given the opportunity to put their work on display and market themselves to the wider world. Mr. Baptiste said, this year's lineup is a fusion of freshness and vibrancy of new and upcoming acts together with the experience of more seasoned artists on the Dominican musical scene.
Our aim was to create a lineup that everyone would be excited about, proud of, and would absolutely enjoy. We are happy to provide the platform featuring a reunion of the Rough and Ready Band in support of the recovery of a challenged original band member. Many are looking forward to the trip down memory lane with Bells Combo and the nostalgia of seeing the original members of WCK perform together after a 20-year hiatus. Lime Dominica remains committed to the development of our nation's culture as it sits squarely within our 4 pillars of development, which include education, health, and sports. As we celebrate our nation's 35th anniversary of independence, Lime Dominica wishes to reaffirm its commitment and support towards the development of arts and culture, and towards a call for embracing our rich cultural heritage.
Mayor of Roseau His Worship Cecil Joseph stating, the event is a great avenue for visitors to witness the culture, food and music of our beautiful country. And in court news, Judge Ralph Austrie of Cassibus received a suspended sentence after he appeared at the Magistrates Court on Monday, October 21, 2013. According to the facts of the case, on 19th October 2013, Austrie entered Green's Wholesale Supermarket in Roseau and stole a number of grocery items including 4 boxes of Happy Cow cheese, 3 cans of tuna, 3 cans of luncheon meat and 6 cans of corned beef. The overall value of the stolen items was $94.96. He was caught by the security officer who then alerted the police. At the time of the incident, Austrie was wearing a cap with the word security written and had been placing the stolen items in one of 2 trousers he had on. According to the defendant, he was hungry, so he took the items so he could have something to eat, saying he took enough to last him a week. In August of 2013, Austrie also stole 4 bottles of Scotch whiskey from HHV Whitchurch & Company Limited, which he told the court he intended to sell to pay his rent. He received a suspended sentence of 6 months in prison, which was suspended for 1 year. He was not to commit any offenses within that year. However, because of his guilty plea for his latest offense, the suspended sentence was immediately put into effect. In addition, he was fined $500 to be paid by June 2014, or in default spend 4 months in prison. He was also ordered to pay by way of compensation $18.16 for the 4 boxes of cheese which could not be restituted. Failure to make the payment by March 2014 will result in 1 month imprisonment. In more court news, Fitzroy Alexander of Grand Bay is now behind bars for the next 3 years on the charge of theft. The repeat offender appeared before Magistrate Ozzie Lewis on Monday, October 21, 2013, and pleaded guilty to stealing a number of electronic items, including 2 computers, a surge protector, and an electric kettle. The stolen items were valued at $9,980.08 and belonged to Deepcon Engineering, located in Copthall. According to the facts of the case, the building was secured by its attendant on October 11, 2013, and upon her return to work on Monday, October 14, 2013, she observed that the door to the kitchen had been tampered with. Once inside, she realized that a number of items were missing. Police, acting on information received, obtained a warrant to search the defendant's home at Silver Lake, where some of the items stolen were recovered. The other items were discovered inside a cave at Silver Lake, secured under a piece of plywood. He also demonstrated to the police how he committed the offense. In mitigation, he told Magistrate Liz that he was sorry for his actions and he would not do it again. Before sentencing, the magistrate told the defendant he did not believe a sentence of less than 3 years would do justice to the matter.